Hey guys, it is a lot going on back there, so don't mind. Just act like it ain't there. This is gonna be a very impromptu video, which I realize that most of my videos that I record that I don't post are impromptu. So this one's no different. But I wanted to talk about, how can I put this? There's too much going on in the background, y'all. I'm distracted. Let me move. Okay, I don't know if this is better. The lighting may not be as good because now I'm in the kitchen. Hold on, let me see if I can make it a little bit better. Is that a little bit better, y'all? I opened the curtains, so I don't know. Just get used to it, y'all. These are always going to be impromptu. Honestly, I prefer it this way because I feel like it's a little more organic. I say a little more because I'm going to still edit it because I have to piece it together, you know? So I'm going to talk about basically controlling or feeling like you have to control or you want to try to control your lock journey to a T. And no. This is what I had to tell myself. So for y'all who don't know, I'm sure y'all do, but if you don't, or if you're new to my channel, I had a previous set of locks. I extended them. And then a couple years later, I cut them and combed the rest out. And then I started a new set of locks, which is what you see now. And with this set, I started off, like, I'll put some pictures actually, just so I don't have to explain as much. I can just see. But I started off braiding nonstop. Not banding, because I never did the band thing at the end, but I would just braid constantly. Constant braid outs. Literally for the first, damn near the whole time I had these locks. If y'all look at my last video, you can see the difference. Obviously, that was from a few months ago. So in that video, I think my locks were like 3 months old. And now they're about to be 7 months in a couple of days. Whenever I post this video, that is. Or from the time that I'm recording this video, I should say. So back then, I was constantly braiding. Like, just constantly braiding. Like, I would not let up with braiding my locks. Why? Because I fell into the trap, also the trap of trying so hard to manipulate my locks into what I wanted them to look like. And then I quickly realized, sorry y'all, I'm trying to find a comfortable spot. And then I quickly realized, what's the point of locks if you're going to be so super anal about trying to make them turn out, basically make them lock in the preferred way you would like? I say that to say, I realize, because I'm a very self-analytical person, like, I will dissect myself, dissect my thought process, all of that for the sake of my own growth. I'm not a person that's gonna stay stuck. I will never stop analyzing myself and bettering me, you know? And so I realized I started to become those people who would comb out their locks because, and I was just watching a video of somebody who did that too, who would comb out their locks because, not just comb out their locks, because I've combed out my locks before, but combed out their locks just because it was bunching too much. And I'm just like, that's the point of locks, is to bunch. They're going to swell. They're going to, they're going to do what they got to do in order to lock. So whenever I see that, or over the past couple of days, I watched a couple of videos of people doing that. And then I thought about myself, and I'm just like, wait a minute now. Wait a damn minute. wait a damn minute, you know? I thought to myself, I'm just like, well, shit. I feel like I'm not being any different. Not that I combed out my previous set of locks for that reason. I combed out my locks because I was tired of fronting. I was tired of the fake hair intertwined with my locks. I didn't like that shit anymore. And then I was just like, nope, fuck that. It doesn't align with me. So it had to go. Hence where we are now. But I thought, and I was just like, well, I'm not being much different than those individuals who would comb out their locks because, you know, it's locking or it's not locking in the way that they would prefer. That leads me to another point. Even after I combed out that set, and with this current set, I was braiding nonstop. And I realized I was braiding because I was trying so hard to keep everything, all of my locks, all 169 of them, stretched so that you can see my length. You know, like knowing, I was going to say knowing damn well, which I do because this ain't my first rodeo when it comes to locks, but knowing good and well that is, locks need to do what they need to do. They need to be left to do what they have to do in order to lock, aka letting them shrink. They're gonna shrink up to however much, you know, your texture allows. If you have super tight curly hair like I do, anything type 4, your hair is going to shrink, like, and it's going to shrink significantly, and you just gotta let it do what it has to do. And so I realized I was not doing that. I felt like I was being no different than the people who were combing out their locks because it was bunching too much and they had like all kinds of bulges and shit. Speaking of, I have them too. Uneven bunching everywhere. Not everywhere, but in a lot of my locks. Like, I'm not, of course, when I try to show y'all, I'm not going to find them, but they're there. But shit, they're only 7 months old. Like, that's what they have to do. That's what they have to go through. And this message is, I mean, this is me to me, but whoever will find use of this, amazing. But really, this is for me, because then when I get in my head, I can look back at this and be like, oh, remember. Bottom line, you have to let your locks do what they need to do. Don't try to control so much. Like, don't try to control them so much. They're gonna lock. They're gonna lock in the way that they need to. So you don't have to, it's not necessary for you to try to manipulate them so much in order to get them to look how you would prefer them to look. Now, I'm not saying zero guidance is what's required for them to lock, because zero guidance would basically be freeform. Try to relinquish some kind of control. And this is what I had to tell myself. So y'all don't think that I'm just saying this to point fingers. Absolutely not. This message is really me to me. But again, whoever needs to hear this, relinquish control. The lock journey is not, when they say it's not for the weak, that's a fact. That's a fact, because it will build you up. It will build you up. And I'm realizing that. Again, even me, myself, I had to let go of my previous set. I didn't have to, but I had to. You know what I mean? Like, in terms of alignment, I had to. I absolutely had to. I know some people will be like, oh, but they looked good. Fuck that. I don't care about that. I had to. Tired of fronting. Okay, y'all, we are back. Let me get my areolas in order. Yes. Where was I? I had to stop because I had to go put the clothes from the wash in the dryer. Not this one. We have another one downstairs in the building. Anyway, basically, what I was saying, I'm trying to remember. Don't try to overly control your lock journey. The purpose of a lock journey is to just accept what's gonna come. You know, as I said, it's not to say that you can't guide your locks, because obviously I guided this set of locks. I sectioned them out. I two strand twisted them. And as I said, for the first damn near 6 months, and I'm going into my 7th month now, I was just braiding all the time, just braiding, keeping them stretched. It's not to say that I didn't ever let them shrink, because when I washed them, I never braided. Like, I just washed them free. So that was about the only time I would allow them to just be free and shrink as they will. But then right after washing it, I would dry it and then braid it up to stretch it back out again. And then I had to realize, or I had to tell myself, like, what am I doing? Why am I not just letting them be? I mean, it's enough. I interlock the roots. You know, I could retwist, but then it don't last long enough, and I'm active, so I already interlock, is what I had to tell myself. What more? You got to stretch them out constantly too, you know? No. And so I had to come to the realization that you're being like those individuals. And again, no shade if you want to comb out your locks because they're bunching too much. I realized, damn, you're not being much different than those people. So I had to check my own self and say, well, shit, what are we doing here? All that to say, I had to stop. I decided to stop braiding my locks up 2 and 3 times a week. Like, oh, it was crazy. Not to say that I'm never going to do a braid out on my locks. Don't get that twisted. I'm gonna do a braid out still, but it's not gonna be on a obsessive trying to keep them stretched type level. Not at all. Yeah, no. And to be completely honest, I prefer my locks like this, just shrunken, completely shrunken. I actually sprayed them again just before this because they had, I just felt like it. Just with water. I don't do anything crazy. I have different spray bottles, but when I need to moisturize, I'll use the ones with the oils. And if I just need to give it some movement, just water. I'll use a spray bottle with just water. So that's what I did. Another thing I realized, although I preferred it, I realized I was braiding and keeping it stretched really for the public. And then I had to think to myself, fuck these people. Let me do what I want to do. I literally was keeping it stretched because in the back of my mind, I was just like, oh, but I have some length. So let me just keep it stretched to show it. For who? This is just a sliver of what goes on in my head. So anyway, I basically had to say, nah, fuck y'all. To the people outside and the people in my head too. I had to say, fuck y'all. I'm going to do what I want to do. Once I switched that in my mind, here we are. Here we are, fully shrunken. And I love it. It's so fucking cute. Anyway, moral of the story, before I lose my train of thought or go on a rant again. By the way, y'all, if I didn't mention if y'all haven't seen my previous videos, this is the start of a sleeve, a cover-up sleeve, but a sleeve. It's going to be a blacked out floral sleeve. This is going to be covered and all of this is going to be filled in. My next session is in a month. Yeah, it's in a month. Because my artist, he be booked, y'all. So I couldn't get anything sooner. That worked with my schedule and his. Anyway, yeah, so this is going to be complete blacked out floral. It's just distracting to me because it looks incomplete, because it is incomplete. But yeah, it takes time. Anyway, do not let yourself, or try not to, because easier said than done, right? Don't let yourself fall into the trap of doing your just hair in general. I'm talking about locks, but just in general, for fucking people. Like, And I get it. Society puts all this shit in your head and tries to, basically try to tell you you're not enough. That's the bottom line. And to that, you have to say, fuck y'all. I'm going to do what the fuck I want to do. And let it be that. I'm trying to think. Am I done? Yeah, we're going to leave it at this. And if I think of anything else, then, y'all will see it in the next one. So anyway, I'll see y'all when I see you. Peace.